It's time for the insane, the honest, and the profane with your host, Brandon Combs.
Jed Hoyer has been a coward as a GM. He doesn't go out and he doesn't make the big splash signings. He doesn't spend the money in the right places. But then I don't let Craig Counsell off the hook because, yes, did he get put in a bad spot with this rotation by Jed Hoyer? Absolutely. But then you didn't put those guys that you did have in a position to succeed in the playoffs.
And Ryan Fitzgibbons.
I mean, if he's just as good as Justin Fields, it's probably the worst draft pick in the history of Bears football. It probably is. And one of the worst draft picks in the history of the NFL.
It's Combs and Fitz, Windy City Sports Talk, right here on ChicagolandSportsRadio.com.
They're going to throw it. He's under pressure. He throws it. It's going to be intercepted at the 2-yard line by Tyron Hopper. 4th and 19. Have to go for the 51-yard field goal off the foot of Santos. And that one is good. On the ground. Swift. Can he get into the end zone? He can. Chicago. From the 23. Pass to the outside. Finding room here. Golden. Golden is inside the 10. And Golden will go into the end zone for the touchdown. In the pocket. Fires. Caught. Touchdown. Olamide Zaccheaus into the end zone. Has time. Throws. Caught. 2 points to try to make it 6 up. And the kick is no good. 49, Williams chased, throws, and it's caught at the 30-yard line. Williams throwing, and it's caught for the touchdown by DJ Moore. One last gasp. Moving guys around, fires to the end zone, and it is broken up. The Bears win it in a crazy one.
Ben mentioned that hearing the noise from the Packers leading up to this weekend. Did you notice that? Is that something you took exception to, or what did your motivation from?
Yeah, they wanted us. That's what I heard. They wanted it, and they got it.
Look, the Chicago Bears, I don't know what the hell happened yesterday. I don't know where this came from. I don't know. Look, welcome to Combs and Fitz, Windy City Sports Talk. It's your boy, Brandon Combs, along with my guy, Ryan Fitzgibbons. Fitzy, look, I left your brother's house last night when they went up 27-16 with 6.5 minutes to go. Because I had to work this morning, because I still had a rundown to put together for a show this morning, I was like, all right, I'm just going to go ahead and get out of here. Because I'll be quite honest with you, at that point, I thought the game was over. We didn't mention it last night while we were at your brother's house, but at halftime, right before halftime, McManus misses a kick. And before he misses that kick, I tell you,
we're like sitting there talking.
What did I tell you?
Yeah, we're sitting there talking, just like an honest conversation about what's happening. Like there's a fan conversation that you have during these games where you're just pissed at whatever player, and then there's like the honest conversation you have with yourselves that we're having, like, okay, kind of like looking at all the wreckage that has happened in the first half, and you're like, he misses this field goal, Bears win 24-21. Now, it didn't happen that way. And I was like, there is no way Green Bay is going to score 45 points in this game. Yep. There's no way that happens. Now, it was close.
Well, 21-16 happens, and I kind of like I kind of shoved you a little bit with my elbow and said, what did I say? What did I say? But then they go up 27-16, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. And I'm on the way back to my house, which is not a long drive from your brother's house, like 2-minute drive. And I'm listening to Joniak call the game on ESPN 1000 and the Bears call of that game. And on that call of the game, I hear the Caleb pass on 4th and 10 to Rome. Now, I didn't get to see it until after. Like, I watched it after. Unbelievable.
Are you kidding me? This is why when Caleb Williams was coming out of USC, it was plays like this that made everybody go, this guy.
Yes, that
Man.
pass. That's the pass that I'm looking at. And
What the?
so when I get back in the house, I'm like, all right, let's see what's gonna happen. And I mean, just pandemonium. I mean, I was up and yelling. My mother-in-law was up and yelling. Like it was just pure pandemonium. And what a great night for Bears fans. I mean, just an unbelievable comeback. I mean, look, it's not the same. It's not even close to the same. But it's for Bears fans. It's a lot like Patriots fans probably felt in that Super Bowl where they were down 28-3. Like just unbelievable and just unthinkable for that comeback. And look, man, it was man, I'm still in shock. I was out of my mind. I don't think I went to sleep till like after 2:00. That 5:00 alarm, 5:30 a.m. alarm this morning was brutal. But I just couldn't sleep, man. I was just too amped up. I was watching all the post game stuff, the Ben Johnson post game, Caleb post game. I mean, it's just so good. So good.
And
they got
it.
Yeah.
I love that.
No,
I love that.
Fantastic.
It's the most improbable win I have ever seen. I mean, at least that's the Patriots. That's the Patriots in their prime, probably the best dynasty. And Jeremiah says Cairo made a 50-yard field goal, probably the biggest shock of the night. Doubting Thomas. Okay, I'm good with the Loveland pick. You think? What a beast. And he might not be an idiot. I could have been wrong with that. Even his post-game speech was okay. But the most improbable finish or just entire game I've ever seen. I mean, that's Patriots in the prime. That's Belichick. That's Tom Brady. That's not where Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams are right now. That's veterans. That's a veteran team that didn't panic. The Bears were panicking. Caleb Williams was throwing his helmet on the sideline. They could say whatever they want that they didn't panic. They were definitely panicking. It's just
they went for it on 4th and 5 from their own 35. In the second quarter.
They're recomposing themselves, and I want to talk a little bit about that, about the age of the coaches and how much the NFL has changed and how much it probably hasn't gotten better with some of the decision making that's happening on the field now. But just totally improbable. Let's go through just want to go through a few of these stats.
Yeah. Before you go, the one thing I want to throw at Caleb, to have only completed 50% of his passes and still thrown for 363 yards, it might be the most insane stat of that game.
Oh, I mean, that's insane. I mean, we could start there if you want. 2 touchdowns, 195 yards in the fourth quarter. If you would have told me that was his stat line for the game, I'd be like, oh man, maybe they won. Like, I mean, I've been fine with that. Oh, and they ran the ball enough. They did not run the ball enough. Tell you the truth, the first touchdown they get is on a running play within the 10-yard line, which they should have done a couple of times before then. With the first time all season, the Bears have won a game without recording a takeaway. First time. NFL all-time to score at least 24 points in the fourth quarter in overtime of a playoff game to overcome a 15-point deficit. Only 2 teams. We just said the Patriots. Bears' lowest win percentage during a victory over the Packers from 651 in the second quarter to 259 in the fourth quarter. We just looked at the percentages. That's Jordan Love's the most TD passes that the Bears have had at home in a playoff game. I mean, he looked good for part of the game. Let's talk a little bit about more of that. According to AP's Josh Dubow, Matt Fleur is the 5th head coach to lose multiple playoff games. He led by 7 or more points to start the fourth quarter. You want to know the other coaches? You might be able to name one. You probably can't name one. Actually,
Bill Belichick?
No, Kyle Shanahan, Andy Reid, and then some older coaches, Jim Mora. Jim Fassel is a pretty good coach.
Oh, wow.
Super Bowl. Yeah, that's 4. Number of fourth quarter comebacks, including the playoffs, is the most in season by any QB under 25. That's 7. He has 7 comebacks now. And then the years since the Bears' last playoff win, 15. 33 years since a team scored 25 or more points in the fourth quarter. 35 years since a Bears QB had beaten the Packers multiple times in a season. Jim Harbaugh was the last to do it. 74 years it had been since the Bears scored 21 or more points in 4 straight games against the Bears. 74 years.
Yeah.
Look, and that's the same number. That's the same percentage of passes that the Packers threw in the second half. 74% of the Packers plays were passes in the second half, which could get you fired, Matt LaFleur. That is overconfidence. That is a still young coach at 46. You do not go up 21-3. You have Josh Jacobs. They're not exactly gashing the Bears defense. And sorry if I'm filibustering a little bit here, but I think I have to. You do not come out in that second half and throw the ball 74% of the time. You deserve to lose if you do that.
Yeah, and I think that might be the most insane stance since you got the stats right in front of you. Josh Jacobs, they were up 21-3. Josh Jacobs was running all over the Bears in the first half. He ran the ball 14 times in the first half. He finished the game with 19 attempts. 5 attempts in the second half while you're up 21-3 is inexcusable. And that's almost like you're trying to get fired. Like, I can't explain it any more than that. It was a terrible job. And I'm thankful for it, Matt LaFleur. I appreciate that. But, man, you do not keep your job after doing something like that when you have Josh Jacobs. And as effective as he was in the first half, to only hand him the ball times in a playoff game when you are up 3 scores, it's inexcusable. I don't think that there's any way Matt LaFleur is the coach of the Green Bay Packers.
They have him in on the kickoffs, and he fumbles. He hasn't returned a kickoff. Megan TV says defense wins that game too. Got the fans back in it. I agree with that. That was another thing we talked about when it was at halftime. I was like, does Dennis Allen lose his job? You said no. I said, I don't know. Definitely doesn't lose his job now, making some chicken salad out of some chicken shit at the end of
with all the injuries though to this season. I think you have to give that a pass. With all of the injuries and leading the league in takeaways, I think that was enough to give him at least a second year.
First 5 rounds of the draft. Which side of the ball are you picking on?
Offensive line.
I mean, there's some problems on the offensive line, but a lot of those guys you have under contract. I mean,
Ozzie Trapillo now, I mean, he's probably out for the year. He got hurt. Looks like a meniscus thing. Ben Johnson said after the game.
I want defense.
I want an edge rusher. Yeah, but I kind of, look, would you trade DJ Moore in a 3rd round pick for Max Crosby?
Here's the thing, and we have to look at the numbers. That's the thing. We really have to do something.
Yeah, we have to dive into it.
We have to research. We're going to have to research the numbers and see if from a salary cap. That's where I'm more worried about. Not whether the trade could happen or not. They're not going to have a high pick, so it might not happen. Caleb and Warren or Megan TV, only 2 QBs to throw 350 plus in a playoff debut. I did not know Warner did that, but I'm not surprised with that old offense.
They won the Super Bowl that year.
Just to be in the same conversation as that St. Louis Rams offense, that's when the Rams were in St. Louis, is insane.
Scotty K, what's going on, Scotty? Long time no see. Greatest night of my life. There are no words to describe how insane that crowd was. Scotty, a season ticket holder.
Oh, boy.
I can only imagine what that was like. I've seen some videos. I know my guy Blake Cowell, who was on the show a couple weeks ago, he was at the game too. I watched his stuff on Twitter on it. I mean, it just seemed insane. By the time he got to his last video, he had no voice left. And it was just that atmosphere had to be insane. Danny Parkins, who used to be with 670, now is doing some stuff on Fox Sports. He flew in, he was at the game, he had stuff all over Twitter as well. It was insane, man. And just the atmosphere there, it not just because it was a playoff game and not because it's been so long since the Bears had won a playoff game, since 2006 when they went back to the Super Bowl. as your cousin Vinny now hopefully is happy that we mentioned that they went to the Super Bowl again in 2006. You know, you look at that, but it's the Packers too, right? Rivalry and what that meant, and the way that the Bears had just been manhandled through the first, 2.5 quarters, maybe even 3 quarters, and you're like, man, here we go again. Here we go again. And I said before the game yesterday, I said, as Bears fans, I'm just going to enjoy the ride. It's already been a successful season. I don't want them to lose, but if they do, so be it. And I'm excited for the future. Man, seriously, after that win, how would you pick anybody against them the rest of these playoffs, even if it is the Rams tomorrow or next week, or even if it is the 49ers next week? How do you pick against them? Even if it's the Eagles next week, you pick against this football team right now. Even if they're down for 3 quarters, apparently you can't pick against this football team right now. I don't know.
How do you
I've never been able to do this, man? Go ahead.
I was going to say, how do you even have a money line? Doubting Thomas, who we've had on this show before, likes to bet the second half of games or even the first half of games. How do you even put a line out on a second half of a game with this team? I mean, that also comes down to, it's got to come down to conditioning. When one team is just outclassing you an entire half, and then you come back, like, that's got to have something to do with what the Bears are doing in practice, what they're doing with their conditioning, what they're doing, and all those things. Yeah, you can have a second half speech, and it sounds like Ben Johnson had one. You can't do much in 12 minutes. You can't do much in 12 minutes. You do have to have a team that's conditioned. I mean, that defensive line looked like a different defensive line. Still not great, but pretty good in the second half. Montez Sweat has 4 hits in the second half on the quarterback. Austin Booker is getting in there. Even Grady Jarrett, the old man Grady is getting in there on things. Andrew Billings is stuffing the run. I mean, it is, like I said, it's the most improbable game. I don't care about other teams as well. Like, it's just improbable because you basically have a rookie quarterback doing it. And I was thinking about this today before the show. He's almost was in a worse condition to begin the year than a rookie quarterback would have been. Like, if you wanted to take a quarterback and say, we want to make it worse than as if he was a rookie, you would have blueprinted last year's season. And that's what Caleb was coming into this season. And just how far he's gone. And
go ahead.
Yeah, great win yesterday. Love to see DJ Moore ball out. He did have a drop.
Looks like he's a Panther fan. I mean, look, Panthers. I really thought that the Panthers were going to win that game, man. I really did. I thought they were going to hang on and win that game before the Bears game, but
Stafford, man.
It's tough, especially when you're going up against that Rams offense, man, because they could score at will. But for the Panthers to hang in there, you have to be excited. Look, I picked the Panthers to win that division. Panthers are going to be better, and I liked the growth that I had seen from Bryce Young last year. After this season and watching Bryce Young, and even in yesterday's playoff game, the Panthers are a quarterback away, man. They really are. I'm out on Bryce Young as a starter. I think he can be a competent backup. But if they get a quarterback in Carolina, that team is instantly a contender. That team is going to be a threat. Like, I mean, they've got a great wide receiver core with Ted McMillan and Leggett. They've got 2 really good running backs with Hubbard and I forget his name now. Their other running back there in Carolina, Dowdle. They've got they really. I mean, if they have a better quarterback in that game, I don't know.
He's just too limited.
I really do.
It's too bad.
Yeah,
because he seems to be a smart kid. Seems to have some athletic ability for sure. He's just too. I think he's just too limited. And the people that said that he could be a Drew Brees are insane. I mean, they say that about Brock Purdy too, and that's just insane. I mean, Drew Brees did have some talent those two guys just don't have. And I know Drew Brees didn't have a great arm. That's what people said. He wasn't very tall, but he's got a better arm than Brock Purdy. A much better arm than Brock Purdy. And he's and maybe a comparable one to Bryce Young, but he's definitely bigger. And definitely just had that thing throughout his career.
Yeah.
Ben Johnson's handshake with LaFleur was hilarious.
Oh my
it was
God.
because LaFleur is waiting for it, and Ben
LaFleur
Johnson
so
is
angry about
up.
it. He was so mad about it after the game.
It's as if and that's 74%. He passed it in the second half. Are you telling me Ben Johnson isn't in that man's head so much he's making his eyes move? I mean, he's got to be.
Did you see Ben Johnson in the locker room afterwards? How he started his pregame speech?
Post game, you mean?
Or post game speech?
Yeah.
The fuck the Packers. Fuck
I hate those guys.
Oh my God.
Those guys.
Oh my God. Dude. How could you not look? I know that this is we're living in the moment right now as Bears fans, and I know that next year. It could all come crashing down, and this could all just be a 1-year hit, and this could all just go away. I don't expect it to. I do think that Ben Johnson is the real deal. I am 99.9% sure that Caleb Williams is the real deal, and it's only going to get better from here. How could you not look at Ben Johnson and be pissed at your team for not going out and getting him before the Bears could?
Yeah.
Or you know what I mean? Like if you're the Giants or you're the or any team last year that had an opening, how could you not be like, man, how did
I'm already pissed
go after this guy?
I'm already pissed that they didn't get him. And you're like, oh, they couldn't have got him a year before. There was a lot from more than multiple sources that last year that they had Matt Eberflus. There was a lot out there saying Ben Johnson wanted to come to the Bears. And you're telling me they couldn't have interviewed him or brought him in a year early. And then polls comes out, has a press conference with Eberflus right next to him, which is weird anyway. GMs just don't do that. And the Bears media doesn't come out. And that's what I'm thinking last night, as I'm thinking they're going to lose. Like, they don't lose that game. They might not even be they're probably not even playing in that game. They're probably have a bye at Ben Johnson as their coach last year. And you don't do that to Caleb Williams and maybe take a year or two off the end of his career, maybe more, with that ridiculous season where he sacked 68 times. He sacked like 20 times this season. I mean, I even say that about the Bears.
Had something to do with some of his struggles this season too. Was last season. I think that had something to do with some of his struggles. I think that the footsteps and the ghosts from last year creep up on a quarterback. They change your internal clock. It does a lot of things. So I think that it has something to do with the fact that he still every once in a while holds on to the ball too long. I think that still has a fact to do with sometimes he doesn't stay in the pocket as long as he could, and he abandons the pocket. So I still think that there's a lot to do with that. I completely agree with you. I mean, it's horrendous what they did, and we talked about it last year. That they should have done that. Bryce Young's skill set is good enough to overcome his height. I mean, that's absolutely 110%.
Why I brought up that comment is because Caleb Williams is not a tall quarterback. He's actually, when it comes to quarterbacks, he's short. Even at 6'1", he's short as a quarterback. His skill set overcomes any kind of height disadvantage. I mean, it is insane what he's able to do.
What's going on, Jose? Thanks for joining and checking out the show. Scotty K chiming back in. People need to talk about Caleb growing as a person. Dude has grown up in front of us. Got confidence unmatched and so humble to give his game ball to Ben Johnson for what he has done for the Bears. Yeah, watching Caleb, I don't know if you've seen this, but when Caleb got the game ball, he handed it back to Ben Johnson and gave an emotional speech in the locker room about how great of a job Ben Johnson has done, how emotional
for him,
for him
personally too.
So, dude, I mean, Look, and that was my concern about Caleb when they drafted him, was his headspace and how was he going to handle Chicago. The kid has done everything right, man. He just has. And this dude is a baller. And he wants nothing more than to win. I know some people, they asked Ben Johnson in the postgame presser about Caleb and being more demonstrative than ever on the sidelines and all this stuff. And Ben's like, oh, I'll have a chat with him about that. I didn't see it yet, but I'll watch the tape and I'll have a talk with him. I like that fire in him. You know what I mean? I like that I want to win. Like there's a different, and there was in Roma Dunze said this during the week in his presser. He said, there's a different intensity in Caleb this week. He turned it up this week, and you saw that on the sidelines last night from Caleb Williams. It was a different animal. The playoffs are a different animal. This means more right now.
I don't know if I
has a chance, man.
I don't know if I always agreed with it. Maybe too much intensity sometimes. Jeremiah says Caleb legitimately thought Ben didn't like him. I mean, if you remembered at training camp, all the stuff that was coming up, that's why I brought that comment up, because it reminds me of everything in training camp. Him throwing the ball to the net, Caleb, to all the stuff with him and Caleb not really getting along, to Caleb can't get along with any coach. Look, he couldn't get along with this coaching staff that was sexting pictures to people and doing whatever. And that's Matt Eberflus's coaching staff, and Matt Eberflus got fired from the damn Dallas Cowboys as a defensive coordinator. He's going to be a linebackers coach next year. I mean, just all that stuff from training camp, to have that completely cleansed. And I thought that was all bull crap when that was all happening. Like, it's not going to be easy in the beginning, especially with an offense as complex as people say this offense is. It was never going to be easy. It still isn't easy. You still got a young 38-year-old who's well younger than us, 38-year-old coach who's coaching like a 38-year-old coach himself, who had his own mistakes, who is doing trick plays in a game in a half that you're down 21-3. He's having Cole Kmet maybe throw the ball down the field 40 yards. I don't even know what the route tree was for that play. They did a trick play where there was a reverse play and Cole Kmet gets it, and Cole Kmet's left-handed and he's trying to throw it going. It was an idiotic play. It just wasn't smart. And there was a lot of other trick plays that didn't work. A lot of handoffs to DJ Moore in the backfield, which is just like, enough already. You have two pretty damn good running backs to do that. But again, that's a young coach learning on the fly. Again, that's what's so improbable about what happened last night. You have a young coach also making young coach mistakes that a 58-year-old Bill Parcells is not making, even though Bill Parcells is a defensive coordinator and he's not calling offensive plays. But older coaches are not making the mistakes. Ben Johnson is not going to be calling plays like that in 10 years, wherever he is. I hope he's with the Bears still.
Yeah. W9MXR says, ladies and gents, Chicago Bears are good, better, best. And then Jeremiah Murray says, when you can throw off of no feet 25 yards down the field, I'd say you have a skill set to do whatever the hell you want. I mean,
say whatever you want at this point. Be confident. Yeah. I want my quarterback to be confident. And even cocky. I mean, this is confident, cocky. Our QBs are known for pretty much nothing other than being cocky. We did have a punky QB quarterback this team 40 years ago. I know that was 40 years ago, but you want your quarterback to have a little bit of that confidence where people get pissed off when he talks, when the opponent gets pissed off, but you love it. You want him to have a little AJ Przinsky in him. You want him to have, I mean, name your guy. You want him to be the bad wrestler sometimes. You know,
absolutely.
You know why I know that? Because I am the bad wrestler sometimes.
That's sometimes you just have to have that swagger. You have to think you're the best. I say that about athletes all the time. Like I'm never one of those guys that has a thing against an athlete who, after they lose, walks off the court and doesn't shake hands, or walks off the field and doesn't shake hands, because I'm okay with my guy having that edge and not being okay with losing. I'm okay with, a quarterback or a leader on a team having a swagger about him, that he's the best player in the world, because that's what you want your guy to be, and that's what the attitude you want your guy to have. People that have a problem with stuff like that are just, I mean, look, they're sitting in the back of a garage, screaming, for different things, right? Like, you don't. It's just not a mentality that you have as a sports fan, to not want your guy to think that he's the best and not want your guy to have a swagger about him. I don't care that Caleb does the things that he does. I don't care Caleb paints his fingernails. I don't care that Caleb dresses differently. I don't care that Caleb, it is emotional. I don't care about any of that stuff. I care that he knows how to win football games. And I've said this from the beginning. And all of my concerns about Caleb Williams have been alleviated in his first 2 seasons as a Bears quarterback.
Agreed. And since you're talking about Caleb Williams, you did make a comment in the middle there, or at the beginning there, where you said someone yelling in the back of a garage. Well, this was at the front of the garage, but about mid third quarter, my father starts yelling to bring the white quarterback in, which my response was, the Bears have had the worst white quarterbacks. To be a Bears fan and to ask to have a white quarterback come into play is just about the worst take you could possibly have. I'm not going to call it dumb because he's my father and I love him, but it's the worst football take you could have in the history of football takes. In the land where no quarterback has
after you take the
30.
racism out of it, of course, right?
Yeah, we have to take that out of that. Yeah, I guess. I mean,
that's why I wasn't going to bring it up. That's why I didn't go there.
It was the other way around. Let's say it was the other way around. And someone was like, they're not running with the quarterback. To get this white guy out of, bring a black guy in. I wouldn't call that racist. I mean, even though it kind of was what my dad was saying, but like, if anybody, like, to bring in a backup quarterback who happens to be white, like any backup quarterback, and this is Bears history, like we're always asking to bring in the backup quarterback because, he was going to change everything.
Yeah.
It was the worst football take. Unfortunately, it was. He's a sweet guy, but
Caleb has found the balance of confidence and a skill set and humbleness to always improve, says Scotty. Caleb has more wins versus the Packers than Cutler, Mitch, and Fields combined. That's crazy.
You going to bring up Doubting Thomas's comment, or?
I tend to not bring up Doubting Thomas's comments, but we can. Wouldn't a Mount Greenwood viewing party?
Wouldn't be a Mount
Greenwood party otherwise. Yeah, it's kind of a fair point. That's why I was trying to skate past it, but then Fitz was just like, nah, screw this. We're going to talk about my racist dad right now.
You're in a garage party. I mean, if you're in a garage party on the south side and let's say you're 4 or 5 miles east, and that's happening, and this half is happening with a white quarterback, and some black dad is saying, bring the black quarterback in. First of all, I just laugh. I just think it's funny. I think we should be out there about it. I don't think we should probably not say it, but
I crack up about it. Look, I just have that sense of humor. Like, things are funny, but you just, there's, some things you probably don't talk about on air if you don't want to get canceled. I think that Eberflus' wife says Ben Johnson when she argues with him. Says Megan TV.
I don't know about when she argues with him. Maybe she's doing it when they're in the bedroom.
The Bears had the 30-30-30, 30 quarterbacks, 30 coaches, 30 years.
Yes.
That's not a great number.
And these were all white.
Yeah.
They were all white.
Yesterday, we had a day in Chicago. The Bulls won. The Blackhawks won pretty handily. the Bears won, and the Cubs signed Alex Bregman. And yes, Sox fan Mike, the White Sox have the campfire milkshake.
Whoa! And we have a Japanese player. Come on.
But I also think that the White Sox are going to be fun this year. I think they're going to be fun to watch. I think that they're going to be better than what they've been over the last few years. I think Sox fans are going to have a lot to cheer about. But now you have Bregman coming to Chicago. I mean, that changes this lineup. It changes what the Cubs are doing. It changes my thoughts on Jed's offseason now over the last couple of days. I mean, when you get Edward Cabrera and now you're getting Alex Bregman, you're kind of changing what you're doing. And you've kind of changed my opinion of your offseason so far. Now, that being said, if the rumors are true, now all of a sudden you're open to trading Nico Horner. Now again, we're having a different conversation, right? Because now I don't understand how you're making your team better if that's your way of bringing in Alex Bregman. Now, do I think that you got to find a different spot for God, I want to forget his name, Matt Shaw? Do you have him start working on playing the outfield, playing right field? What do you do with all of those things? But look, man, it was a great day to be a Chicago sports fan. Yeah, and yesterday we're in the midst of it, and the Bears are losing, the Bears are getting crushed, and I show you my phone where the Twitter report comes in that the Cubs signed Alex Bregman. And I was like, man, I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, man, what bad timing, Jed. But at the same time, maybe it was good timing, right? Maybe it was good timing. Because if the Bears lose that game, then you're like, at least the Cubs got Bregman. But if they came back and they win that game, now all of a sudden it's the greatest day in Chicago sports history. And since maybe November 2nd of 2016?
Yeah, I mean, I think that Jed finally did what I've been saying. Even when Dylan Cease, when Toronto Blue Jays acquired Dylan Cease, and you said, "Oh, Toronto overpaid," you have to overpay. Yeah, you have to overpay in this league to win. Yeah, the left side of your infield is going to have two guys where you're probably overpaying for them both. But guess what? They might win you the World Series. Alex Bregman and Dansby Swanson, they're not going to be the best. And there's going to be times where Alex Bregman's going to play 90 games in a season. There's also going to be times where he plays 145 games and he's a baseball player. Yeah. He's going to be out there a lot and he's going to hit 25 to 30 home runs. He's going to be the reason why you win a World Series or at least get close to winning a World Series. I mean, you have to overpay for guys. Yeah, the fifth year on that contract, he's not going to be making the money. He's not going to deserve the money he's making. But you don't care about that. You care about the next 3 years. And you have all these other contracts that you're paying for that are going to start syncing up with him. I mean, I thought they should have done it last year to Alex Bregman. It just made way too much sense. I'm glad they did it this year. Sometimes you have to overpay for players.
They deferred $70 million of the contract too, which is something that we haven't seen the Ricketts do, something we haven't seen the Cubs do. I liked that, and now maybe that opens up the door for Kyle Tucker. Maybe,
or at least, I don't know if he's come off the board yet. I've been a little focused on the Bears, but Cody Bellinger.
Yeah, Cody Bellinger. There's a lot of smoke there too with the Cubs. I guess the Cubs have been talking with his camp too, but we'll see, man. Just a great day.
They needed more right-handed power. They needed more right-handed power. This lineup needed it, and they got it.
Edward Cabrera firmed up that rotation too. Good trade there for Jed to go get him. Even though you gave up Owen Casey, I was fine with that. But I wanted to touch on that as well. Scotty K says, not sure if y'all talked about this, but is that it for LaFleur in Green Bay with Harbaugh out there and the constant choking, Browns, Bears, 2 times, etc.? I think he's gone Monday morning. I do too. I think that LaFleur has coached his last game with the Green Bay Packers. And I think that not just because they lost the game, but the fashion in which they lost the game and his game plan in that second half, I think cost him his job. Now, Does he get an immediate opening as a head coach? Obviously, you got John Harbaugh out there. You've got Kevin Stefanski out there, who's a 2-time coach of the year. You've got, all of these different options out there. And you might even see, even if LaFleur doesn't get hired or doesn't get fired, you're going to see you might see Tomlin might go there. Sean McDermott might be out there. Now, all of a sudden, these teams that were thinking they might only get to hire, Kubiak, or go out there and get to hire Joe Brady or Matt Nagy, for Christ's sake.
I don't know if you get rid of LaFleur and you bring in I don't think they bring in a Cliff Kingsbury or something like that. I
think they would bring in a Kubiak. I do.
That makes more sense. I think you have to have a guy who's totally proven, like a John Harbaugh. If you can bring in John Harbaugh, that's who you bring in for LaFleur. I mean, if he's going to keep making these mistakes, I mean, going back to it, the passing the ball 74%, even at some points at the end of the game, that was just like you're letting your emotions get the best of you.
Is he a guy that's going to have to take a coordinator position before he gets another head coaching opportunity, or do you think he's a head coach?
I think he's a head coach for now. I think he would get with another team. I think there's just too many things. He does scheme guys open. It is a vastly different league, though. 20 years ago, you just did not see guys flying open like you do these days. You just did not see that. Every game, it's like 7 or 8 times. If you saw it in one game 20 years ago, it looked odd.
Yeah. Scotty says to Las Vegas. I can see Las Vegas. I could see why.
I could see John Harbaugh going to Las Vegas.
I don't know why anybody would
Tom Brady there.
I don't. Why would you do that? You have. I mean, it is bare bones, and now you've got. If you're Matt LaFleur,
why he would do that? Why would John Harbaugh
the Ravens job out there? You've got the Dolphins job out there. You got the Giants job out there, which I think is prime property. Everybody keeps talking about the Ravens job, and I understand you have Lamar and you've got a 2-time league MVP, and it could be good there if the right guy goes there. But to me, man, when you've got the Giants job with Jackson Dart and with Neighbors and with
Banks,
the
defensive line, defensive line and offensive line is kind of already put together,
and a top 5 pick. You've got a top 5 pick this year, which you could either use for more draft capital and move down in the draft and get more draft capital moving forward, or you can use the number 5 pick to go and get Jeremiah freaking Love. And now all of a sudden you've got an unbelievable roster on offense, not to mention a talented defense. And I know that, it didn't pan out this year because you couldn't get, I'm going to forget his name, the edge rusher that they got from Penn State. You couldn't get him to buy in, and he wasn't showing up to practices and kept getting, fined by the team and suspended by the team and punished, blah, blah, blah. But now all of a sudden you get a leader in there like Matt LaFleur, who he can buy into. Now all of a sudden you change everything, right? We saw with Ben Johnson and the Bears. If you can get a coach that can come in and change the culture, that can change things rapidly. And to me personally, if I'm a high-powered head coach like Matt LaFleur or Kevin Stefanski or even John Harbaugh, the New York Giants are number 1 on my list. And I probably have to change the GM there because I'm not going there with Joe Shane. Joe Shane's the problem there. But I probably go there and I say, hey, yeah, I would love to come coach this team, but I'm bringing my own GM.
I'd say Ravens are 1. But I get your Giants thing. I just say Ravens are 1. They're just more ready. And it, Scotty brings up a good point. Matt gets to develop Fernando. I mean, that can make sense. I mean, LaFleur did develop Jordan Love. I mean, Jordan Love is at least good enough. I don't know why he's always throwing off his back foot when nobody is rushing the quarterback sometimes. And to have that first half and then to end off at 50% completion percentage is a problem for me in that game for Jordan Love. But
and you have to fix the relationship with Max Crosby if you go to Las Vegas too, though. You got to remember that because that front of the way that thing ended at the end of the season, with Max Crosby and the Las Vegas Raiders front office. Like that has to get fixed. So whoever goes there is going to have to repair
And
that.
a lot of people do
too.
agree with Jeremiah. Fernando will only be a mediocre quarterback. Stefanski is the best coach out there. Jeremiah,
two-time coach of the year, man.
Yeah, John Harbaugh won a Super Bowl, dude. He's pretty good.
But John Harbaugh won. John Harbaugh won a Super Bowl in 2012
and negotiated the whole Lamar Jackson thing and made him.
But
had something to do with make what was generally a running quarterback who's taken in the third round into
Lamar
an MVP, into a perennial MVP. I think he had something to do with that.
Lamar saved John Harbaugh's job a couple of times. Let's just be honest. I mean, Lamar saved John Harbaugh's job a couple of times.
Quarterbacks, two very good quarterbacks. He went off of Flacco when people thought that was insane. I mean, I don't know. He's made a lot of hard decisions, done a lot of good things.
I think Harbaugh's a good coach. I just don't think I don't know. I think he's a little overrated, to be completely 110% honest with you. I think John Harbaugh's a little bit overrated as a head coach. And that's just my take on him. I don't think he's terrible. I think he's going to do well in other plays. I think it was time in Baltimore for them to have a new voice. And I think that Harbaugh will do okay somewhere else, especially if he goes somewhere like we were just talking about New York, or maybe even if you ended up seeing John Harbaugh, hell, you might see John Harbaugh in Green Bay.
Or the kick is made, and
if you're going to, I mean, you could see all sorts of things. So it's crazy, but you never know, man. Like you've got to see where these things are going to go. You've got to see who's out there. But I think that Stefanski, I agree. I think Stefanski is the best coach on the market right now. He would be my number one if I'm teams looking for a head coach.
Interesting. Yeah. And if LaFleur's out there, you still on Stefanski?
Yes. I've been out on LaFleur for a couple. I think LaFleur's to me he's like Harbaugh. I think he's a good coach. I just think he's a little overrated. And I think that his play calling, as we saw last night, especially when you have a lead, is always a little suspect. I mean, what has he done in the playoffs? What has LaFleur done in the playoffs?
Nothing. And this they're not even in the playoffs the last 3 years without the 7 seed, which I think is a weird seeding in the playoffs. This is all going to change in the NFL at some point. The whole playoffs is kind of weird and doesn't make a whole lick of sense. With the 7 seed, and then you're the 2nd seed, you're the second best division winner, and you play on WildCard Weekend. Like, that's just, to me, that's not the football I grew up with, and it is a little weird. I think you're the second best division leader in your conference. I don't think you should play the first week. I just think you should have a week off for that.
I want to get back to Jeremiah's comment. Fernando will develop into a mediocre quarterback, because about a month ago, I was on that same boat where I was like, man, I don't know if this kid's game really translates into the NFL game. Like, I think maybe he might end up being another Tebow, was my take about a month ago. I've watched this kid throughout the playoffs really closely, and the things that he's doing with Indiana. I watched some of these throws that he's making. Fernando Mendoza is going to be a good quarterback, and unless he ends up with, it could be the Raiders too, depending on who goes there to be the head coach. But unless he ends up with the Jets, I think Fernando Mendoza can be a really good quarterback.
I think Tim Tebow. No, I would. First of all, Tim Tebow was left-handed. I think that just changes everything in the NFL, and he had a long release with a bad arm. Which is which is two really bad things to have as a quarterback. I think Fernando has a pretty decent release and a pretty good arm. And
I think Mendoza, you'd be talking about Mendoza in 2 years the same way we're talking about Drake May now, where people are talking about him as an MVP candidate. because I think he can
Ooh,
be
wow.
that good, especially if he lands in the right system. Now, look, you've got to land in the right system in the NFL. You just do. People talk about system quarterbacks all the time. I'm telling you, name me a quarterback who's not a system quarterback right now. Even when you talk about, and I people always give me grief
The
for
best
this,
quarterback of all
but
time was a
even when
system
you
quarterback.
e-
You're not
even when
bringing Tom
yeah,
Brady in to do bootlegs.
well, Tom Brady
And
went and did it in another system, which might kind of defeat that theory.
it was a
But,
very similar system where he's throwing short
well, I
passes.
think it was Tom Brady's
under,
own system in Tampa Bay.
and
You
Bruce
know what I mean?
Arians. He
But
knew Bruce Arians. They knew each
yeah,
other. Like they were able to mold something that fit him. You're
but
not
even when you're
doing,
looking at Patrick Mahomes,
you're not
Mahomes, as
doing,
great as he is, he's a
you're not
system
doing,
quarterback too.
you're not doing RPOs with Tom Brady. I mean, yeah, you're right. You're right.
Do you
is what
think
I'm
Patrick
saying.
Mahomes comes to Chicago, gets drafted by Chicago, which is always people's go to? Oh, you could have had Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes would have been backing up in Buffalo if he had been
I don't
the
believe
Chicago
that.
Bears quarterback.
I
What?
think the cream rises to the top. I think
What?
I just think things would have gone. I think things would have gone a little different.
You don't think Cody Parkey still would have double doinked?
I don't think he's the quarterback he is now, obviously, with Andy Reid. No, but I just think he's too good. I think he's so much better than what Mitch Trubisky was, that it would have just been undeniable. And they would have brought, and it would have actually stayed even the McCaskey's hands to bring somebody in. I mean, that's one of the
I think
reasons
you're
why Ben
nuts.
Johnson was brought in, is because they were killing a first round
Yeah.
draft pick that could do things like the video we just showed of him throwing the ball
But
30
see,
yards
the Bears
downfield
didn't learn that with,
without, like,
and at the time it was with
can I
Ryan
talk?
Pace. The Bears
Am I
didn't learn
able
that
to
with
talk?
Ryan Pace. So, well, yeah, but
Am
you're
I
wrong,
am
though.
I able
Because
to talk?
Ryan
Am I
Pace,
able to talk? Can I let you make your thing that the best football player probably to ever play the game would not be that
but then
good?
you
I'm sorry.
interrupted me and told me you disagree.
There is some times where a football player is so good that he does rise his players up. You just forget how bad Mitch Trubisky was. He was
I think you forget how bad
really
the front office was.
bad. Yes, they were bad, but Mitch Trubisky was pretty bad. They had a decent line for him. They had
the
they had
playoffs
Allen
twice.
Robinson. They had they had Mooney. They had a couple other receivers that could do some things. They had they were doing okay in the running back room. Like, they had things around him. He just wasn't that good. And yeah, Matt Nagy was an idiot who, didn't want to have any deception at all in his offense, which is just ridiculous. And if he goes whoever he goes to is going to be terrible. But I just think that a quarterback would have risen above that, and they would have known, like, Matt Nagy isn't the guy, and maybe brought somebody else in here and stayed their hand. Once Mitch Trubisky was bad, and then you bring in, Justin Fields, and I don't even know what happened there. You're right. It is a bad organization, but I think Mahomes overcomes a lot.
Here's why I disagree with you so much, because what have we seen the last 2 years since Matt Nagy went back to Kansas City as the OC? How good is Kansas City's offense? They're not even in the playoffs this year.
I get it. Also, they have an old tight end who they shouldn't have brought back. They have a really bad receiving core that almost every year leads the league in drop passes. That offensive line isn't as good as it was.
The worst front office in the league
at
that time when he was drafted.
I understand that. I mean, the Bears, and we could just say this: the Bears last year were making the White Sox look good. I mean, that's how bad they were. They were making the White Sox look good when the White Sox were literally chanting to sell the team. The Bears fans were chanting the same thing. So I get all that. I just think Patrick Mahomes, way too good. I think it at least stays in hand. And at the very least, let's say Patrick Mahomes isn't very good here. It's a Baker Mayfield situation where he leaves the Bears, maybe has 1 or 2 good seasons here. He leaves the Bears, somebody gives him a chance, and he's Baker Mayfield somewhere else. Actually, way better than Baker Mayfield somewhere else. I think that's what eventually would have happened to Patrick Mahomes here. Is he goes somewhere else, they give up on him, and he's terrific somewhere else.
W9MXR says McCaskey handed Kevin Warren and Ryan Poles the keys, made a major shift in leadership. I mean, I agree with that to a point too. I mean, because once the handcuffs were off and they didn't have to stick with Matt Eberflus for an extra year, as the story goes, I mean, they made the right decisions. And I still don't know how much I trust Ryan Poles to do my drafting. But But
Ryan Pace was White Sox
I think it's
worthy.
getting better.
He was.
Yeah. You could put him in the Sox front office and nobody would notice.
Yeah. Actually, I think we've talked about this before. Chris Scott's not bad.
He's actually doing a good job.
It's ridiculous.
I remember when we pooped all over that hire.
Oh, we were screaming. I mean, just disturbing every baseball sensibility I've ever had, and somehow they've just like fallen in. It's not even him doing it. It's Josh Bloomfield, I think, whatever. Some of the guys he has, the assistant GMs, some of the scouting that they brought in, but that's what good GMs do. They community build, and we've talked about that before too. And somehow Chris Getz has done that, but Ryan Pace wasn't able to do any of that with the Bears for sure. And that was things would have been bad, but I think Mahomes would have found a home. I think he would have, whether it's here or somewhere else.
All right, before we get out of here, let's touch on these playoff games again.
All right, here we go.
I have the Jaguars over the Bills. You have the Bills over the Jaguars. Have you changed?
And you're a crazy asshole.
Okay.
I have not changed my opinion.
Yeah.
I'm
Jaguars
going with the better quarterback.
Yeah, I'm going with the better defense that can stop the run. Let's go Patriots Chargers. Who you got tonight?
Patriots Chargers. I'll see.
I was on the Chargers. You were on the Patriots.
Yes, I was on the Patriots. I'm still on the Patriots. I'm still on the Patriots. I don't think the Patriots get out of the first round, but I think they do win one playoff game.
Eagles Niners. I think we were both on the Niners, or were you on the Eagles?
I was on the Eagles.
Okay, I'm on the Niners. We are the exact opposite.
And
we're both on the Texans tomorrow night.
Yeah, for sure. I think that the Pittsburgh Steelers are one of the worst team in this playoffs, possibly the worst team in this playoffs.
Yeah,
after Carolina's showing yesterday, they might be the worst team in this playoffs.
Yeah,
and they are almost every season.
I think the Texans send Aaron Rodgers into retirement tomorrow. I really do. Bills, Eagles, Pats. So he's with you.
Yeah, thank you.
He's with you against me.
Bills by a million.
Not a good spot to be.
The dead bodies that Jacksonville has played.
Yeah. Have you seen the dead bodies? Yeah. You know who else they played and beat the snot out of? The Bills.
Doubting Thomas has the Steelers tomorrow night. And can we just for 1 second
Why do you bring up his comments?
How dumb the NFL is to have.
Did you see his moniker, by the way?
The picture from last night.
It's us, but with our freaking half naked brothers standing behind us.
Bam Bam Bigelow. Can I just say how dumb the NFL decision was to have the Bears and Packers play last night instead of tonight or today? Like, how many viewers they must have lost to not watch that game. You have Al Michaels, and I think Kirk Herbstreit's actually really good. I know a lot of people who say
I don't like Kirk Herbstreit.
I actually really like Kirk
He doesn't even know half of the names. He's a college guy. He's a great college guy. Don't get me wrong. He's a great on college game.
I like the way he sees the game. I like the way he sees the game. I forget names too. So do you. So, I mean, I like the way he sees the game, but Al Michaels, it's just, I mean, he's put a little bit more energy in it this year, but it's just, it's not good. He's saying it's 2nd and 5 when it's 2nd and 1.
And they've already announced that he's coming back next year.
And it's just like, you have that booth. Put those two after those first 2 games between both of those teams.
How it wasn't Kevin Harlan and Tom Brady, is beyond me. And how
unless it was something where Amazon steps in. Unless Amazon stepped in and goes, no. We want this.
Come on.
Just the viewers they had in that game before it was one of the most.
The NFL threw them a bone.
One of the most viewed Sunday night games in the last 5 years, and they put them on a Saturday night.
Yeah.
Inexplicable.
It's crazy. But all right, here we go. We got one more week of Bears playoff football. We don't know what time or what day they're playing yet.
Yes.
But once we find out, we will let you know. And we will be there for Bears pregame. Don't know where we'll be, but we'll be somewhere for Bears pregame.
You don't have a lot of
next time.
information. You don't
Yeah.
have a lot of information.
Well, we don't because we don't know. We
Yeah.
have to wait until the schedule comes out. We have to wait until they tell us when everybody is going to be there. So we'll let you know. We'll let you know where it's at. But we will be there. Bears game next week. Tell your friends. Tell your neighbors. Tell your enemies. We'll see you later.